Hi there, this is Brian Hanks with the Brian Hanks Show from Kinston, North Carolina. You are listening to the Paper Boys Podcast with JJ and Zach.
All right, now for the fun part. Not that talking to coaches isn't fun.
But they can't express their opinions.
It typically is fun. It was not fun for us for this episode because we had all manner of...
Folks, it's been a nightmare. Even as we speak right now, we are re-recording. It's January of 2025 right now.
The season's halfway over.
We just found a way to get it back here now.
Yeah, it's been the week from HE Double Hockey Sticks, or the episode from HE Double Hockey Sticks. So kudos to Andrew Gurley and Lindsey Howell for redoing stuff. Shoo. And also Ryan Sokoko for coming in.
Yeah, we can still thank him even though he didn't have to re-record.
That's a haul from East Carteret, especially when you're a teacher during the day and trying to figure out planning periods and stuff.
Absolutely.
So this fun part, though, for us is doing predictions. I was going to say predictions that are definitely going to fail, but we did really good last year.
Listen, when you cover these teams as long as you have, it's not like they're playing 15 new opponents every year. They're playing the same people.
Pretty much.
You kind of can pencil in.
Yeah.
I feel like, in fact, this is an interesting question. I wonder what percentage of games going into any given season are true like toss-ups versus you could pretty much pencil those in on it unless something drastic happens, right? Like the season, a lot of these team seasons comes down to like 3 or 4 or 5 games.
Right.
That's all you get to make a difference between, the different paths you can.
Just to pat ourselves on the back.
Sure.
Last year I hit East Carteret girls record on the nose, 21-2. Zach was very confident, said they were going to go undefeated. So they did just
pretty close.
Yeah. But you did nail the league record. You had them 10-0 and they were. I said they were going to go 9-1.
Perfect.
West, we both had them going 15-7 and they went 14-7. So we just can't count. They went 9-1 in conference.
We'll split the difference there. I had them 8-2. You had them 7-3.
There you go.
So,
Croatan, we were. I hit the league record at 7-3. You were just a game above. You said they were going to 8-2. But that team, we were way off the mark. You said they were going to go 17-5. I said they were going to go 16-6, and they went 12-9.
Now, there's a trend. All 3 of these teams, at least for my predictions, did slightly worse than what we thought they were going to do.
We tend to be optimistic.
Is it optimistic or
positive.
kind? There you go, positive.
You don't want to say somebody's going to go 3-15 and then have to go out there and cover them before the season.
Sure, I did say that a certain team was definitely going to lose a game last week, and they did. That's just part of life. I will say too that what he won't tell you, Mr. Smith, is that he's done his predictions twice because he got done with the first one and said, maybe this was a little bit too nice.
Maybe I'm too kind.
So he went back, and now we're trying to be a little bit more on the nose.
That's
here.
what people say about me is I'm too nice most of the time. I'm too
Is
kind.
that what they say?
Yeah.
Who are you talking to?
Okay, let's go with the Mariners. That's a rebuilding year.
Yeah, there's no question.
They lost 80% of everything.
Yeah.
And so they're starting.
And Sokoko is confident that what he has brought back will grow, but that's not going to happen overnight.
He mentioned a 2-year plan.
There you go.
Because there's no seniors.
Sure.
So, yeah. So I've got them at 6-12 overall, 5-5 in the 1A, 2A Coastal Plains Conference.
Okay, so I've got them also going 5-5. I got one more game in non-conference, 7-11, but both of us saying under 500.
What's our difference? Do you know?
Well, I do have them starting off 1, 2, 3, 4, 0-5.
I do too.
I think that's fair. I think they're going to beat Beargrass Charter.
Oh, it's the White Oak game. Isn't that
it's
the difference?
The White Oak game right after Beargrass. I don't know much about the White Oak girls. I know that they. Based on the conversations we had with Andrew Gurley and Lindsey Howell, that they're not necessarily going to be jump off the page good. Yeah. So East has a chance there.
Conference, we're probably much the same, I would imagine. We've got them sweeping Lejeune and sweeping
Jones Senior.
So there's 4. And
getting
then I've
swept by Pamlico.
Right. And Northside.
And then splitting with Southside.
There you go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that's a pretty confident.
So that would put them, third place of that conference?
Yeah, you go 5-5.
Or maybe tied for third with Southside.
Pamlico's probably going to go 10-0, I think.
And then Northside, too.
Probably 8-2 with their 2 losses to Pamlico.
They either tie with Southside.
Them and Southside.
Or they end up at... so who knows? Maybe that
those 2 Southside games...
Third from last Southside game ends up being the decide of who's going to the... Well, no.
The battle for third.
Yeah, but they're going to playoffs either way, probably.
The Patriots, I have 14-8 overall and 8-2.
Here we go again about
Coastal
being
Conference.
Positive and optimistic. I've got them going a little higher. I've
Yeah.
got 16-6 overall.
Wow.
9-1 in the conference.
Wow.
I am predicting fourth straight
consecutive
conference championship,
which would be the second time only.
Hello realignment.
79-82. It's been a while since they won 4 in a row. Non-conference, there's some tough games. They got Kinston, they got Newbern,
Pamlico.
they got Jacksonville, they got Pamlico, they got J.H. Rose. Yeah,
Who
they
are
got
your
tough
losses in non-conference?
I got Newbern, Jacksonville, and J.H. Rose, and Kinston,
Pamlico.
and Pamlico.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're getting swept by Pamlico. Pamlico's a very good team.
Pamlico's really good.
Okay. I think the Jacksonville J.H. Rose losses, that makes sense to me. Newbern is, I think, where we split here. I've got them beating Newbern. You've got them losing. So we'll see.
In conference, I've got 2 splits, Croatan and Swansboro.
Yeah, so the difference here is that I think I've got, and I just don't, it's less interesting to me, the idea of West and Croatan both splitting with Swansboro. So I had to pick one of them to sweep Swansboro.
Right.
And I've got West here.
I think West is a better team than Swansboro, but I thought they were a better team than Swansboro last year, and they split.
And that's the nature of that
Right.
matchup.
Right.
And I grant you, it could go the other way. It could be a split for both Croatan and West. It could be a sweep for Croatan and a split for West. It doesn't matter. I've got West splitting with Croatan and sweeping Swansboro.
How cool is it that those 2 Croatan games might be the 2-game series for the conference championship?
Yeah, I mean, really, look at the last 2 games of West's schedule against Swansboro and against Croatan.
Yeah.
That could be it right there.
Right.
So, really fun, especially if it comes down to Croatan versus West.
And they split with Croatan last year.
That's right.
Split with Swansboro, and they had 3 losses, right? Didn't they? The 7-3.
Yeah, I think
Was it White Oak?
White Oak,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
it was, yeah.
But we're both predicting 4 in a row. I mean, if they're going 8-2, they're winning the conference.
You don't think they might tie? What do you have Croatan?
Well,
at?
even if you tie, you're still 4 in a row.
That's
though.
true.
Yeah.
They did tie that second year.
That's right.
So there you go.
The last game, right?
That's right. That's right.
Swansboro had to beat, who was it?
No, they had to lose to White Oak
Oh, is that what it was?
or something like that.
Yeah, you were covering
I remember,
that game, right?
Well, I was
Yeah.
at West. And
You gave them the news.
the news.
Yeah.
What a time.
But yeah, I think 8-2. Yeah, minimum they were tying. So yeah, I think 4 in a row. I think we would both be surprised if they don't win 4 in a row.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they brought everybody back.
That's the thing. And not just bringing them back, but they're older, they're wiser.
Right.
Now, that said, Sam Huber's out.
Right.
Now,
Asterisk.
maybe she comes back.
At some point, maybe late in the year, maybe.
Sure.
Yeah, the season lasts. I mean, a few months here.
Croatan's got a different non-conference schedule.
Not, I would say, max preps wise, RPI wise, probably not what West is.
So they're playing actually 3 less games than West Carteret is. But I've still got them with 16 wins. I've got them going 16-3 overall and 8-2 in the conference.
16-3 for the Cougars.
They're not losing to Southside, I don't think.
No.
They're not losing to Havelock
Yeah.
or East Carteret or Cape Hatteras and that's it for non-conference. The only loss I've got in non-conference is Southwest Onslow.
They play Lejeune in non-conference. That's a W probably.
That I'm going to go ahead and if I could put money on it.
So when they start conference, I think I've got them. Well, that's not fair because they go back. They played Dixon earlier. I think I've got them after the Havelock game. I've got them 8-3. What do you have them after the Havelock game?
After the Havelock, no, it's just 1, 9-1.
Ooh, wow, you got them firing.
Who's your other loss?
Firing out. I've got Southwest Southside.
Yeah, I got that as a loss. Are you saying a split with Southside or something?
Yeah, I got a split with Southside, which is
okay.
we'll see.
Come conference, here's the difference: is that I've got them splitting with West and splitting with Swansboro,
Yeah.
and then sweeping the rest.
So you got 8-2. Wow, 8-2 though.
Yeah.
You got maybe.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say
Yeah.
is that if they somehow if they beat West at the end of that season,
Yeah. Shared.
then it's a shared title. Which I
Nice.
think have we had a single Croatan West shared title during this realignment
during
period?
Yeah, that's a
with
good
any
question.
sport actually?
Oh wow, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
that would be wild.
I'm kind of rooting
now you're rooting for that.
for that to happen.
Yeah, that would be cool. I've got a split with West and a split with Swansboro, and then I've got a loss to White Oak. I think they're better than White Oak, and they should win that. But I'm just the craziness of the Coastal
I get it,
Conference.
I get
and,
it.
Yeah. Plus,
Okay.
I'd rather after last year, I think I'd rather hedge.
No,
Towards,
that makes sense.
Yeah. Last year we were too high. I'd rather be too low this year, I guess.
So, last question then for this girl's prediction. Player of the year. You and I were talking about this before we recorded this. I think it's a no-brainer. You think it's a little bit harder than that. Who are you looking at?
I think your top Skylar Setzer, Neely McMahon, Landry Clifton.
If you're gonna put Neely in there, you got to put Landry
Cheyenne
in there.
Jones. You got like 4 or 5, but I think Skylar's probably. I think the girls is easier than the boys. I think she's probably the preseason favorite.
If you're asking me, I don't think there's anybody else that I would put in this spot other than Skylar.
If Carteret County high school sports was on FanDuel, she'd be like minus.
That's right.
Minus 250.
No parlays involved there. I think with Sam, so Sam is out, which is going to change the dynamic.
Oh, now that would have been really hard.
Yeah, if Sam is in there, now you've got, and I haven't seen enough of Hannah Buchanan. I just, when I think of Neely, I think of Landry. I think
they're
of
so
them as interchangeable.
Balanced at Croatan, I feel like.
Well, that's the same as it was at West last year. It was very balanced. With Sam out, they are going to need I hate using this word, an alpha to step
somebody
up
to take the
and
reins.
be the scoring leader night in and night out, and that's going to be Skylar Setzer.
Probably, yeah.
She's the quarterback out there
in
that rotation of guards
running the show.
Yes, they've got Ella Holmes at the 3, Ella Graham at the 5. Those two are going to score points as well. Ella Graham's going to put up rebounds. Ella Holmes is probably going to stuff the stat sheet, but Skylar, I just feel like at the end of it, is going to be there alone.
And in a county where nobody's going to put up big numbers because the scoring's low in a lot of these games.
Sure.
If she averages 14 or 15, that's going to be big.
I honestly see her around 16 points a game. I do.
Okay.
But who knows?
Skylar Setzer, you say that she's a lock.
That's my prediction.
And I just wanted to hit before we sign off. I wanted to say, and I think I mentioned this in the boys, but I can't remember. But I love that Croatan's playing Cape Hatteras.
Yeah.
And the boys are playing Ocracoke.
Yeah, Hyde County's right there.
Dude, we should be playing Cape Hatteras and Ocracoke and everything. I know it's not convenient.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Travel-wise.
That's the thing. Well, and also, is the matchup often
that's true,
strong
too.
enough?
Is it worth
for it
all
to
that
happen?
travel and stuff? Yeah.
It just so happens Ocracoke is in a strong point for
Boys
boys.
are playing well,
I don't know about Cape Hatteras girls.
But it'd be cool if we could. That could be like a regular thing in lots of sports.
Yeah. I'm curious. Like, I wonder how for a school of that size, these are both 1A schools. I guess.
Yeah.
I wonder, what's the athletic population for that?
They're picking from everything. Everybody's playing everything, right?
I mean, if you're in the hallway, you're like, come on in the gym, let's go.
We don't even have enough for basketball. We can't practice, please.
Can you walk and talk at the same time? We can find somewhere for you.
Yeah, please play. So, all right. Okay. Well, man, if this, again, a rebuilding year for East, but man, if this holds true, East, West, and Croatan are having pretty good years.
I mean, they had good years last year. Yeah. And they brought most people back.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
And Croatan has a couple freshmen and maybe continuing to building up.
Well, there was talk a few years ago of last year's freshman class, this year's freshman class, and that they were pretty special.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. See how it goes.
All right.
I'm Rodney Kemp, and you're listening to the Paper Boys Podcast.
All right, time for prediction time, which is always fun. We enjoy talking to the coaches, but Daniel Griffey and Will Kenyon and John Humphrey, but this is funner.
Well, and it's one of those, you're not going to say it to their face.
We did tell Daniel Griffey we're going to try to be as kind as possible.
Well, and I felt bad earlier when I said, about the kids Friday night against West. You are going to lose.
Yeah, you said you're going to lose.
Well, I mean, come on, though. But, I understand that no coaches can go into a game saying, we're going to lose,
I don't think you're going out on a limb when West Carteret returns every single human being on the roster.
Yeah.
And East Carteret returns one from their roster.
And, I mean, you don't know each other's names.
Right.
Barring,
and you haven't even been able to practice.
No, there's no way. I'm so sorry.
They've all been playing football.
You are going to be in your own school, and it's going to be tough. Yeah. But that is what it is. But we'll be kind here.
So we mentioned earlier with the girls that we think this is kind of going to be like football season, where they go kind of over in non-conference and then start.
Actually, the boys are almost exactly like that. Yeah, you're right.
I've almost.
What's your overall record?
Other than a couple of, I've got them 6-12.
Oh, and 4 and 6.
4 and 6.
Oh, same.
Oh, really?
How about that?
Wow, that's pretty good. Interesting games on the schedule. West Craven, which I think that's kind of a toss-up, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
It was hard to tell with non-conference.
So just real quick, we
don't know if West Craven has a great transfer.
No, we don't know.
Or if 2 or 3 kids have left the program. We don't know.
Not at all.
But we can only go off max preps.
I thought it was interesting you had them losing against the Ocracoke, and then I went and saw that they had retained like 2 of their 3 best scores from like an 18-win season or something. Who knew?
The first time I did it, I had East winning.
Yeah.
Then I went back and looked at it a little closer.
Yeah, that's tough.
And I think if that is an L, I think that'll be the first L to Ocracoke
That's
in
also
East Carteret school history.
It's also a game I think it's playing at like noon that day.
Was it like a weekend or something?
It must be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be the first loss to Ocracoke in school history.
But you've got
that
them.
will be significant.
You've got them losing twice to West Carteret, twice to Croatan,
Yes.
once to Havelock. But then you get their wins start in the seventh game, Epiphany, and then West Craven's a toss-up, but you got to win there, and then you got them winning against Jones Senior as the first.
I got them sweeping Jones Senior. Is that what you got?
Yep.
I got them sweeping. I guess that's it in conference.
Yeah, that's it.
No,
Southside.
Southside.
No. But those are both toss-up games.
Probably.
So it could be the difference between a 6-12 versus a 4-14 season.
I've got them getting swept by Lejeune, getting swept by Pamlico,
100%.
getting swept by Northside.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just starting over. It might be. I think East is kind of the more interesting programs this year because we kind of know what we're going to get out of Western Croatan, boys and girls.
I disagree.
Really?
I thought that last year, and I was slightly wrong with Croatan.
Like,
well, more than slightly.
Like if you tell me East doesn't win a game this year, I'd be like, oh wow. But if you tell me they kind of finish 500, I'd be like,
guess
oh
that's
wow.
true. You know what? That is
such a
true.
wide variance.
You think about again going back to football. Who would have? How many games is that team going to win? Conference champion.
Yeah.
Okay.
After going over in non-conference.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So West and Croatan, I think we pretty much know what they're going to do.
You know what? I agree.
Within a couple games.
You're right.
You usually end up agreeing with me, so that's how that works.
Well,
West Carteret, I've got them 15-6.
I've got them 14-7.
Okay. And I've got them 7-3 in conference.
6-4 in the conference.
Okay, so
and it comes down with this the splitting. You have them sweeping White Oak.
You got to split.
I got to split.
Okay.
Yep. So let's start with non-conference.
Croatan, you got to split.
Okay, yeah, we'll go. So I've got West Carteret splitting with Croatan, splitting with White Oak, and I think no one's up for beating
anybody in the conference beating Swansboro.
I don't think so.
10-0.
I'm so sorry. Now it's not just that they're good; they're tall.
Yeah, which is unusual.
And they have a field general in Jermaine Tezzy Cunningham. I think he's quietly one of the better players I've ever seen play.
Probably this year will be one of the better players east of 95.
Yeah, I mean, like there's nothing about him that he doesn't act like somebody who is as good as he is. He's all business, and the other kids around him respond to that, and I think they're going to do. I mean, they were the number 1 seed last year, and they hardly lost anything.
I think the 4 most interesting games in conference are the 2 Swansboro, just to see if somebody might clip them off at some point. You're saying it's not going to happen.
I don't know.
And
I think it's a 20-point game.
Girls and boys, those are the games of the year.
100%.
West Croatan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas I think second place comes down to the West Croatan games.
Yeah.
White Oak, I just threw it in there because we've heard both coaches say that White Oak
saw them in some scrimmages and stuff,
and that they're like they're reloading.
Yeah. See, I look at Max Preps, I'm like, whoa, they got wiped out.
Sure.
But I don't know what's coming up from JV.
Well, we heard one of the coaches bring up a transfer.
I was going to say, I don't know who's transferred from Lejeune.
So that's why I've got the split specifically for West, because I feel like Croatan is in a more. I understand more about what they bring to the table than I do about West.
Right.
There's some question marks there.
Interesting games, non-conference. Kinston, I've got those both as losses.
Yeah, same.
I don't know that much about Kinston. I get into the golf. Max Preps, unfortunately, Kinston's one of those teams that doesn't put their stats on Max Preps. I have no idea what Kinston has.
But it starts with a K.
Yeah.
So.
I've got them beating Jacksonville but losing to Rose.
Yeah, same.
Okay. So, yeah, that's a really good year for West. They had a really young team last year. They're much older, much more experienced. I've actually got to see them. I kind of got a head start on you. I got to see them Tuesday night versus Havelock. That was kind of a weird game. Havelock was basically a JV team, but I think West has got some potential.
Yeah, and I haven't seen them. I mean, this is coming from somebody that didn't know Tanner Payne was 6'4" until about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you covered one football game.
Yeah. So, and I'm a little bit behind, but obviously, we look online, we see what there is on paper.
Right. Yeah, these are paper predictions.
They are.
That's why they play the games. Croatan, I've got 16-5.
Same.
7-3.
Same.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if we got everything the same. You got a loss to West Bladen and a loss to Southwest Onslow.
That's right.
You got 2 losses to West Swansboro.
That's right.
You've got them splitting with West Carteret.
I do, and then I have them sweeping White Oak. Yep.
So we've exactly the same page there.
Yeah, the interesting games there. You brought it up already. West Bladen and Southwest Onslow. Not totally sure.
West Bladen lost like 2 games last year.
Yeah, so I mean,
It looks like they bring everybody back.
Yeah,
We don't live in Bladen County. We have no idea.
Sure.
Southwest Onslow had a really good team last year, assuming Max Prep says, but it's Onslow County. Who the heck knows?
Absolutely.
Two of those kids could be playing Northside this year. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you take a look at the Swansboro program alone. I mean, we don't live in a county that is open enrollment,
Right.
so we're really unfamiliar with the process. I watched Swansboro because this would now be their 3rd or 4th straight year of I think it's their 3rd year of playing really well.
Building something, yeah.
Yeah, and so like the first year, a couple kids left. Went to Liberty Christian, went to Coastal, and then they came, one of them came back and. They had transfers in. They had a 6'5" transfer, Ray Mitchell from California. It was like you never know.
Very non-Swansboro like.
And it's also military, so you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Not to pat ourselves on our back, but we did pretty well last year picking boys. I said East would go 9-1 in the league. You said they'd go 10-0. I was right. You were off by 1. I said they were going to go 15-8. No, my bad. I had them 18-5, and they went 15-8. You had them at 20-3. Wow, you were very optimistic.
I know.
East and boys, girls and boys last year.
I was.
So you were off by 5. Yeah, that was.
Well, special groups.
Yeah, and I was off by 3. So we missed pretty far off on the overall. And then Croatan. What did we do there? Let me see. We rightly predicted their league record. We both had them 5-5. I had them 15-8 overall. You had them 14-9. They went 18-6.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Yeah. So they had some young players that ended up playing really well. So speaking of players playing well, player of the year in conference in the county. I think it's like the girls. I think it's tough. So I think it's the same thing.
I think this one is very tough.
Yeah, East is, again, this rebuilding year, so it's West and Croatan. Having seen West play already, I can tell you, balance, man.
So that's the issue.
Just balance.
So for me, I'm gonna make some people upset here. It is a toss-up, but it's a toss-up because I believe all the candidates come from one team.
One team.
And it's not West Carteret.
Because you don't think anybody's going to.
I don't.
What was it? What was it last year? I think West Carteret had 8 guys average between 8 and 13.
Yeah, and I don't think that's going to change.
4 and 13. You think it's pretty much going to be the same?
Jalen Hewitt's gone.
Right.
So that was the person at the top of the heap
right,
that was like, oh, they're going to average 16 points, 17 points a game, whatever.
10 rebounds, whatever.
Sure.
Right.
I believe that all 3 of the people that are in line to win this are on Crotan's roster, and I don't see neither West or Croatan have a lot of height, or they don't have that standout post player. So it's going to be guard play.
Right.
So you've got Jaden Hilliard, who's probably going to be the quarterback.
Right.
He's going to lead in assists. He's going to be in the mix.
He probably won't have the points the other guys have.
He probably won't.
Right.
Trey Jones is the one who jumped off the page last year with almost 18 points a game.
Right.
And not a scrub on rebounds, 5.6 rebounds,
Yeah.
2.7 assists, 2.1 steals. Cannon McBride.
Everything you hear, all the talk in the county is he's taking his game to another level.
Yeah, and this is somebody who I covered 3 Croatan football games this year. I swear he grew from the first to the third.
You're like, is this kid wearing lifts? What's happening?
Well, this is a kid who excels at soccer. He excels at football, and guess what? Basketball is his sport.
Right.
So if that's the one he cares about, that's the one he's going to put most of his energy towards.
Going from like 6 foot to 6'3", apparently.
Yeah, and he's got a shot.
And according to John Humphrey, he's not just going to be a 3-point shooter this year.
I would imagine not.
Put the ball on the floor.
Yeah, so I think that all 3 of those guys, it's down to them.
Who's it going to be?
I have to make a prediction.
All right, we got to go somebody.
I think Cannon McBride is a sophomore. And I'm never going to lean towards a sophomore when I've got a senior.
You got an upperclassman.
Yeah, so I think Trey Jones takes player of the year home.
That's probably the safe pick.
Yeah, I mean, because again, Jaden is going to be in the mix, but he is not going to have the numbers because of the position he plays.
Jaden's going to facilitate the offense.
Absolutely.
We talked to John Humphrey, his coach, and he was like, he's too unselfish.
Yeah, and maybe I would agree.
Yeah.
There's a lot of passiveness there.
Yeah, I'll feed.
If we were trying to decide who's the most
Jones,
important player to each team,
there you go.
Maybe it'd be different. But this is player of the year.
Well, how about that though? Maybe at the end of the year you're like, man, he run the show. Trey averaged 20 points, but Jaden was.
I think for an award like this, it's got to go to the numbers.
Okay. It is tough. I think I just made an argument that I think I could end up following at the end of the year, where I felt like Jaden was the quarterback. But yeah, I think Trey's probably the preseason leader.
Now, what happens if Trey ends up with, let's say, 15 points a game and Cannon ends up with 19?
Cannon could be the lead. I wouldn't be shocked if he was the leading scorer.
But what if he took 50 more shots? Whatever.
More volume.
Sure.
Yeah.
It'll be really interesting, and hopefully we'll have. Well, you should see this guy when he's picking. When we're looking at Player of the Year stats.
Time and effort.
There's going to be a spreadsheet.
Excel.
We're going to be looking at how they perform in certain games.
Yeah. The Croatan game.
We're going to be looking at the success of the team.
Croatan West games.
If, let's say, Croatan wins 14 games and West wins 18 games, and even though nobody stood out at West, guess what? We're going to look through those numbers, and we're going to find somebody.
Conference finish will help.
Sure.
Playoff run will help.
100%.
Conference tournament will help.
100%.
Especially if it's going to be like you're right there the regular season within one game. You're right. Yeah.
We don't typically get years where all 6 or all 3 in this case teams are gonna do well. We don't know what East boys are gonna do. We just talked to Daniel. We know that it's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah.
But I think West and Croatan are gonna have solid seasons again, and they're gonna be in position to continue. Maybe obviously Croatan loses a few, but
Jaden and Trey are seniors.
Yeah. But I mean, it feels like both coaches there are encouraged about the future.
For sure.
So
I'll throw a dark horse Player of the Year candidate in there, Jack Bell.
So I just don't know enough. There are people in my ear in the Newport area that say a lot of things about him.
Wow.
And
Jack Bell getting some talk in the Newport region.
Same with, and someone like a Jay Murray who was really good in middle school and
Newport kid
led that team to a title over, I think it was like an unbeaten Broad Creek or something like that. So there are some players on West that may surprise us and separate.
Barbershop and grocery store discussions about Jack Bell and Jay Murray in Newport.
These kids would absolutely freak out if they knew how some of the adults speak about them away from their faces. On the court, coaches, parents, you got to keep working, keep grinding. You're not there yet. Off the court and with us, they are very flattering about them.
They're big time.
Yeah, that's part of the fun of this job.